Grandpa, Mrs. Whitaker told me Mom said you're not yourself anymore, Nora blurted, eyes hot. They're telling people a story so the care coordinator can sign you in fast. Please, don't be here at 2. I can say you went for a walk, but you have to actually be gone. Please. Grandpa, Nora whispered from the hallway, eyes bright with worry, please don't open the door at 2. Mom and Dad are taking you to a nursing home today. I heard them on speaker. They already picked a place. Please don't tell them I told you. She slid a crumpled printout into my hand. Assisted living, immediate placement, today's date, 2 p.m. circled hard in pink. The doorbell made its polite noon test chime, one soft ding that sounded like a countdown in my quiet Boise house. In the garage, through the crack under the door, the sensor I'd installed years ago blinked red, misaligned, or nudged. Either way, the house felt like it was warning me. I notice more than they think, I told her, keeping my voice steady so hers could be. Come here. In the bedroom, I pulled down my canvas holdall. Medications in the side pocket. A clean shirt and the navy sweater Nora says makes me look like a teacher. My leather folder, driver's license, passport, Medicare card, the original patent filings for the garage sensor and the child safety lock. The little brass key hidden at the back of my dresser. The velvet pouch with Margaret's ring. My hands did not shake. I have spent a lifetime designing devices to stop bad things before they happen. Today would be no different. Are you mad? Nora hovered in the doorway. At fear, at money, at grown-ups who forget they were children, I said, not at you. I zipped the bag. Outside, our Boise Bench Street held its usual Saturday hush. Sprinklers ticked. A dog negotiated with a squirrel 2 houses down. The mantel clock nudged forward a minute. The room felt smaller, like the walls were leaning in to listen. I can stall them if they come early, she said, voice brave and thin. I'll say you're napping. I can hide the keys. You already hid the keys, I said gently. She flushed. You won't need to stall. I won't be here at 2. We moved through the kitchen. I crouched at the garage door. The sensor light kept pulsing that stubborn red. I pressed the test strip to the lens. The beam was fine. The bracket was off by a hair. I loosened the screw, nudged it, and watched the LED blink once and go steady green. Broken? She asked. Misaligned, I said. Easy to fix. Easier to ignore. I looked at her. I need you to do something hard. She squared her shoulders. Okay. Act normal, I said. If they ask, tell the truth you can tell. I went out. You don't know where. You don't lie for me, and you don't lie to me. Deal? Her hand found mine, small and fierce. Deal. We stood for one more breath, listening to the house breathe back the fridge hum, the window glass ticking in the early heat. On the side table, a photo from the Boise Depot caught the light. Margaret's red scarf looked like a flag. Wisdom over wealth, she used to say, tapping the pantry note card. I carry that card in my wallet, its edges softened by time. I walked Nora to the back door to avoid the front camera's cheerful visitor detected. She tugged my sleeve. They think you won't fight. You always tell me to speak up. I'm speaking up. I hear you, I said. I always will. The alley smelled of dry pine. I cut to the next street where a cab would draw less attention than my truck. As I slid into the back seat, my phone lit up with Lucas. I turned it face down. The driver checked the mirror. Where to, sir? Downtown, I said. First National Bank. We rode past the greenbelt, the river moving the way time moves when you pay attention. Past brick fronts trying to be new. Past a kid on a scooter who waved like the world had nothing to fear. At 11:46, I stepped into the cool, carpeted quiet. The young man at the desk smiled like I was here to reset a pin. I need to access my safe deposit boxes, I said, meeting his eyes. All of them. All of them? If a moment like this has ever brushed your life, share a thought, or even the city you're listening from, so I know where this story finds you. As I prepare to take this next step, I wonder if you've ever faced a moment where you needed to stand your ground. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Banks breathe a different kind of quiet. Cool air, carpet that swallows sound, a chandelier reflected in glass so clean it looks like water. The receptionist glanced up, polite, and then down again with the expression people wear for old men who forgot a password. "I need my safe deposit boxes," I said. "All of them." Something in my tone made him sit a little straighter. He tapped, glanced at the monitor, then at me. "Of course, Mr. Carter. I'll have the vault attendant meet you." The attendant was a woman about my age with neat hands and a key on a blue ribbon. "Right this way." We passed the framed lithograph of the state capitol, then a pane of reinforced glass that gave a shimmered view of downtown Boise, the basalt of the depot, the bite of sun on windshields along Capitol Boulevard. She turned 2 locks, and the vault exhaled cool metal, old paper. She slid out the long steel rectangles as if lifting bread from an oven. "Take your time," she said, and closed the little door behind her. I set the first box on the table and lifted the lid. Familiar weight. Manila folders with labels in Margaret's careful block letters. Garage door safety sensor. Child safety cabinet lock. Gas shutoff valve seismic trigger. Window egress alarm. Another folder, licensing agreements. Then the portfolio-colored tabs, renewal dates, royalty statements. So many years of saying no, we're fine, when we were more than fine. The second box held statements and ledgers, thick with the rasp of good paper. Municipal bonds, blue-chip dividends. A spreadsheet I update by hand because it forces me to look at every line. The total, those commas stacked like little fences, still gave me a pause. Low 8 figures. It had crept there like water rising in a river you cross every day, until one afternoon you look down and realize you should be wearing a life vest. I set the third lid aside and saw the envelope I've been thinking about since Nora whispered from the hallway. "Sam, open when you're alone." Margaret's handwriting, the tail of the G like a ribbon. I slid a finger under the flap. "If you are here without me, it means you're doing the hard work of loving our family in the real world," the letter began. "Tell the truth when telling it protects someone. Wait to tell it when waiting teaches wisdom. Trust your instincts, especially about children. Money can build fences or bridges. Choose bridges." I folded the letter once, then again, and slipped it into my breast pocket. The paper felt like a hand on my heart. I fired up the portable scanner I keep in my briefcase and fed every key document through. License agreements, patent abstracts, current statements, the ledger summary. A digital copy goes to the encrypted drive, another to the cloud. The originals went back into their velvet-lined bed. The blue ribbon key lay on the table, a gleam like a nod. My phone buzzed. Lucas, then Madison. I let both roll to voicemail. I typed a single line to Nora. "I'm okay. Do your homework. I'll text you later. Proud of you." I hit send and waited for the tiny delivered to appear. The attendant poked her head in. "Everything satisfactory, Mr. Carter?" "Perfect, thank you," I said. "Could I get a private conference room for a call?" She showed me to a small room off the lobby with a window that made downtown look like a photograph. The Boise River flashed between buildings like a silver thought. I put the portfolio on the table, took a breath, and dialed Lionel Green. "Green Law," came the receptionist, bright and practiced. "Samuel Carter for Mr. Green. Tell him it's not about probate. Tell him it's about protection." A beat, then Lionel's voice, steady as a level. "Sam, I'm here." "I'm done being polite about my own life," I said. "I need airtight protections, a trust my son and daughter-in-law can't touch, updated directives, and a plan for what to do if they try to paint me incompetent." "How soon can you be in my office?" he asked. "Name the time." 30 minutes. I looked at the bank clock. "I'll be there in 20. Green and Associates sat 3 blocks off Capitol Boulevard near the Ada County Courthouse, a calm that smelled of lemon oil and paper. Lionel stood when I entered, warm grip, lawyer's eyes. "Sam," he said, "tell me." I told him enough, the 2 p.m. tour, the printout Nora slipped me, the house that felt smaller. I slid my portfolio across his desk. Patents for a garage door safety sensor, a child safety lock, a seismic gas shutoff, a window egress alarm, then royalty statements and a ledger that stacked commas like fences. "You and Margaret built something careful," he said. "Let's make it resilient." "How?" "First, Nora's future, an irrevocable trust. You as grantor, an independent professional trustee. Distributions limited to health, education, maintenance, support. Age milestones with discretion for emergencies. Fund a portion now, pour over from your will later." "No parental access," I said, "no loopholes." "No parental access," he repeated, writing it. "Second, update your will, specific bequests, a clean residuary, and a condition for Lucas inheritance contingent on demonstrated stability and no finding of elder abuse or exploitation. Say it plain, I said. This is about character. Plain, he said. Third, powers of attorney, financial and medical, with springing authority only to the agent you designate. Name your primary, I'll be backup. Capacity certified by your physician, not family. Do it. Fourth, he said, prepare for a conservatorship attempt. If they file, we move to appoint Karen Patel, a guardian ad litem, the court-appointed child advocate who interviews families and reports to the judge on a child's best interests. We'll also insist on an independent capacity evaluation for you. Meanwhile, keep contemporaneous notes, dates, decisions, who you met. Paper beats rumor. I've kept ledgers longer than Lucas has been alive, I said. I'll add a log. Lionel tapped the portfolio. One more thing, proximity. If they try to wall you off from Nora, you'll want lawful, low-friction contact. I'm buying the house next door, I said, through a holding LLC. Cash. No contingencies. He picked up the phone. I know an agent on West Bannock who moves fast. Then, to me, while we draft, think like an engineer. Where are the failure points? Misalignments look fine until they don't. Doors and families, I said. His assistant brought in tabbed drafts. We worked the stack. The trust naming a corporate trustee. The will with the character clause. The POAs with tight definitions and a springing trigger. I signed, he notarized, stamped, copied. His phone chimed. Next door property is active, he said. Owners relocating. If we wire today, we could have acceptance by close of business. Wire it, I said. Full ask, short close. I'm building a bridge Margaret would recognize. We waited at the window while the wire went out. The Boise River curved like a silver hinge. The city opened and closed on pins. My phone buzzed. Grandpa, the garage door almost came down. I jumped back. I'm okay. Nora. Blood thudded, then steadied. Misaligned becomes dangerous when you ignore it. What is it? Lionel asked. A reminder, I said. We're moving fast for the right reasons. Another buzz. Cash offer accepted. 2-week closing possible, the agent wrote. I texted Nora. Proud of you for telling me. Do not stand under that door. I'll be there soon. I signed the last page. Lionel gathered the originals, slid copies into a folder labeled Carter Firewall. Anything else? He asked. Yes, I said, feeling Margaret's letter like a hand on my heart. If they smear me as incompetent, we insist on Karen's involvement, and we keep every conversation polite, recorded, and true. Then we're ready, Lionel said. Let's finish the firewall. The Boise light had that pale, honest quality when I pulled to the curb outside Lucas's place. Cottonwood fluff drifted like slow snow. Nora was waiting on the front step, chin up but pale around the mouth. I am okay, she said before I could speak. It just dropped fast. Show me, I said. We went to the garage. The metal still held the faint, warm smell of sun and oil. I crouched at the rails. The photo eyes were not dirty, they were crooked by a hair. The mounting bracket nudged a whisper out of true. On the wall control, the vacation lock was off, but the child safety lockout had been disabled. A tiny toggle, easy to flip, easy to forget, easy to deny. Stand back, I told her. I set a foam block where a foot might be and tapped the button. The door came down like a decision. At the last instant, the beam caught the foam, hesitated, and reversed, slow and grudging. Not good enough. A misalignment can behave until the moment it does not. I killed power at the breaker, opened my bag, and laid out the prototype, a redundant dual-beam sensor, a tiny accelerometer that listened for vibration patterns, and a force limit module that yanked the motor's leash the moment resistance spiked above a child's ankle. Can I help? Nora asked, already reaching for the small Phillips. You can hold the light, I said. She did, steady as a surgeon. I trued the brackets, wired the auxiliary module into the opener head, mounted the second beam lower than the first, and tapped my phone to the tiny chip that tells the system who it is. We powered back on. I set the foam under the path again and ran the door. This time, the motor hummed, the door moved, the second beam broke, and the force limit cut like a clean thought. The door reversed fast. That, Nora breathed, felt different. Because it is, I said. Redundancy is how you keep a bad moment from becoming a bad ending. A voice drifted from the side yard. "Everything all right over there?" Mrs. Whitaker stood by her hedge, sun hat in hand, the posture of someone who has seen a lot and learned when to speak. "We had a little scare," I said. "All fixed now?" She nodded, eyes soft on Nora. "She's a brave one, walks herself home most afternoons. I keep an eye out from my kitchen. Folks talk, you know. I heard Madison tell someone, 'You're slipping, Mr. Carter.'" She hesitated. "Didn't sit right." "Thank you," I said, "for watching." Mrs. Whitaker tipped her hat and disappeared behind the hedge, leaving the scent of tomato vines and basil. "Grandpa," Nora whispered, pulling at my sleeve, "I saved things." She led me to the kitchen and opened her tablet. Screenshots of browser tabs glowed. Assisted living searches, budget columns highlighted, a local facility with a news link about citations. Then a small voice memo, the kind a phone makes when a child learns what evidence means. Madison's voice said, "Intake," said "Sunday visits," said "Sell the house." Lucas's voice said, "We cannot keep doing this." "You were not supposed to hear that," I said softly, "but I am glad you did." "I do not want you to disappear," she said. "I am not going anywhere you cannot find me," I said, "starting soon." Through the front window, a car turned into the drive. Lucas. He stepped out, shoulders tight, saw us in the kitchen, and paused as if he could rewind the day with breath alone. Madison's sedan eased in behind him. "Go to your room for a few minutes," I told Nora. "Homework, door open." She nodded and slipped away. Lucas came in with that careful, brittle smile people put on when the truth is inconvenient. "Dad," he said, "what are you doing here?" "Fixing what could have hurt your daughter," I said, and setting a time to talk about the rest. Madison hovered by the island, purse still on her shoulder. A folded packet stuck from the pocket. The header read, "Boise Meadows Intake," the way a label reads its own shame. "Saturday," I said, 2 in the afternoon. "Here. We will discuss living arrangements with a recorder on the table. My attorney will be on call." Madison's eyebrows jumped. "A recorder?" "So everyone remembers what they said," I said, "so we do not miss a line." Lucas swallowed. "Fine," he said. "Saturday." My phone buzzed. "Lionel. Available. If it escalates, I will reach out to the guardian ad litem." 2 o'clock it is, I said, gathering my bag. "Until then, keep Nora clear of that door." I stepped onto the porch. Behind me, their voices slipped into a low argument, that old married rhythm of blame and bargain. The new sensor light on the garage blinked once and steadied to green, a small, stubborn fact in a house full of opinions. Cliffhanger. Saturday was set. Now I needed to lay my papers out like a map and make sure there were no misalignments left to hide behind. Saturday carried that Boise stillness before a storm. By 1:30, my dining table looked like a map you could drive. Folders, tabs, and a short list in my handwriting, 3 bullets I could say calm, even if their voices weren't. We talk about safety, not convenience. We decide based on truth, not rumor. We keep Nora's best interests at the center. I printed the reports again, this time with the passages highlighted. State citations for understaffing at 2 budget facilities, a medication error at a 3rd. The margins held dates and phone numbers in my neat block script. I slid them into a clear sleeve next to a 1-page summary. Alternatives to institutional placement, costs of in-home support, and how far the trust would stretch for Nora's future without touching a dime for anyone else. I checked the legal packet, irrevocable trust confirmation, updated will, financial and medical POAs with springing triggers. Lionel's card sat on top, along with a simple note in blue ink, "Call anytime." 30 seconds or less to pick up. I called first. "Status?" he asked. "Evidence organized, recorder ready," I said. "I will announce the recording. Idaho is one-party consent, but I prefer courtesy." "Good," Lionel said. "If they threaten conservatorship, you pivot to facts and capacity. If they question your competence, invite an independent evaluation. All move to involve a guardian ad litem if this touches Nora's welfare." "Karen is aware?" I asked. "I briefed her," he said. "She's a court-appointed child advocate, the person a judge tasks to interview family, visit homes, and report on a child's best interests. She'll remain neutral until a court asks, but she knows to pick up if I call." Thank you, I said. I slipped a pocket notebook into my jacket for contemporaneous notes. Paper beats rumor. I put my small digital recorder in the case and set my phone to a backup voice memo. The point isn't to trap anyone, it's to keep our memories honest. At 1:45, I walked next door with the folders under my arm. Nora met me at the door, hair pulled back like she was bracing for gym class. "Room?" I asked softly. She nodded. "Door open." "Good," I said. "If voices get loud, you text me the word pause." Her mouth twitched. "Like a remote?" "Exactly," I said, and she slipped upstairs. The living room looked like every middle-class room in Boise right now. Soft gray couch, a framed metal print of the Greenbelt, a coffee table that tries to pretend it's solid wood. I placed the recorder on the table in the open, a black pebble with a red light off. Next to it, I stacked 3 piles. Safety, legal, alternatives. I left my hands resting flat, fingers apart, the way Margaret used to when she needed people to choose their better selves. Through the front window I could see Capitol Boulevard through a gap in the trees, a car glinting, then gone. The mantel clock said 1:57. My heart kept time, steady but awake. I wrote 3 ground rules on a single index card. We will not talk over each other. We will correct rumors with evidence. We will say Nora's name when we forget who this is for. The knob turned. Lucas stepped in first, face pinched from a week of too little sleep and too many calculations. Madison followed, phone in hand, eyes flicking to the folders, then to the recorder. "Dad," Lucas said, "you're early." "I wanted the table set," I said. Madison's chin tipped at the device. "Are you recording us?" "I will be, with your knowledge," I said, reaching for the button but not pressing it yet. "Idaho allows one-party consent. I'm choosing 2 because it's better for families." She held my gaze, then looked away, the slightest flush in her cheek. "Fine. We're going to talk about safety first," I said, touching the top folder. "Then alternatives, then what the law actually says." Lucas sank onto the couch like someone who had finally found a chair. He looked at the index card, read it, and nodded once. "Ground rules are fine." The doorbell chimed. 2 o'clock. I pressed the recorder's button, the red light winking to life like a nerve. "Let's talk," I said. "Before you speak, hear your daughter," I said, and tapped play. Nora's whisper filled the room. Intake. Sunday visiting hours. Sell the house. The recording ended in a small click. No one moved. "We start with facts," I said, sliding a folder forward. "These are the facilities you searched. Here are the state citations, understaffing, medication errors, neglect. Nice places do not read like this." Madison's mouth tightened. Lucas stared at the highlights like they might fade if he didn't blink. "Second fact," I continued, placing a second folder on the table. "This is my work. Patents for a garage door safety sensor, a child safety lock, a seismic gas shutoff, a window egress alarm. Licensing agreements, royalty statements, current balances." I turned the ledger so they could see the bottom line. 8 figures. I am not a burden you need to store. I am an adult who has planned. Madison flushed. Lucas exhaled, a small sound that might have been shame. "Third fact," I said. "I have already closed on the house next door. I will live there. I will be close to Nora every day, by design, not by your permission." Madison's head snapped up. "You bought?" "Yes," I said. "Through an LLC, cash, short close." I let that settle. "Fourth fact, Nora's future is secured. I created an irrevocable trust with a professional, independent trustee. It covers health, education, maintenance, support. You will not be able to access it. That is not a punishment. It is a boundary." Lucas swallowed. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because character is learned, not inherited," I said. "Today is your chance to show it." He glanced at the recorder. "Are we really doing this on tape?" "We are keeping our memories honest," I said. "Now we address motives. You did not choose these facilities for my safety. You chose them because they are cheap and fast. You spoke of selling my house to service debt. That is not care. That is convenience." No one argued. The clock hummed in the quiet. "Here are my terms," I said. "You will apologize. Not for my sake, but for Nora's. She heard you plan to disappear her grandfather. You will make a concrete parenting plan. Who picks her up, who helps with homework, how you spend time with her that is not a transaction. You will accept a standing visitation schedule for me. After school hours at my house 3 weekdays, alternating Saturday mornings, Sunday dinners as agreed." Madison found her voice. "You don't get to dictate our home." "I am not dictating your home," I said. "I am dictating my boundaries. If you agree, we move forward as a family with rules. If you refuse, I will ask the court to appoint a guardian ad litem, Karen Patel, to evaluate Nora's best interests, and I will welcome an independent evaluation of my own capacity. We will let neutral professionals look at all of it, the schedules, the finances, the rumors, and the truth." Lucas rubbed his forehead. "Dad, we were scared. We are drowning. It felt like the only option." "Fear explains," I said. "It does not excuse. If you are drowning, you take a breath and ask for a rope. You do not push the strongest swimmer under." Madison's eyes shone, color draining from her face. "We shouldn't have lied to Nora." "You will fix that today," I said. "You will tell her the truth. You will tell her I am not slipping. You will tell her she did the right thing by warning me. And you will agree, here and now, that no one signs anything for me. Not tours, not intakes, not samples. I decide where I live." Silence settled again, heavier and cleaner. Lucas looked at the trust confirmation page, then at the patent list, then at the recorder's red dot. "Dad, what do we do?" he asked, voice breaking at the edges. "Start by telling the truth," I said. "To me, to Nora. Then we put the plan in writing and keep it." Nora stood on my new porch, backpack still on, her eyes bright with excitement. "Do I get to come over after school every day?" "Absolutely," I said, tapping the schedule we'd magnetized to the fridge. "Monday, Wednesday, and Friday are ours. Saturdays alternate, and Sunday dinners are a standing invitation if everyone behaves." She grinned. "Behave is a rule?" "It's the first one," I replied, smiling back. We moved to the garage to install the new safety sensor. I wanted it ready on day one. Nora held the flashlight steady as I mounted the second beam lower than the first and connected the force limiter to the opener. The app chirped as I paired it, and we tested it together. The garage door moved, sensed the foam, and reversed smoothly. "Better!" she exclaimed. Inside, the house smelled fresh, and we laid out our routine on the kitchen island. Snack, homework, and 20 minutes of reading. I wanted to ensure Nora felt secure and loved, not just cared for. Later, Lucas stopped by. He looked uncertain, like he was stepping onto a stage. "Dad," he began, "I was wrong. I let fear and money cloud my judgment. I lied to you and Nora. I'll be there for her, I promise." Nora watched him, then nodded. "You have to come to my science fair." Madison arrived the next afternoon, looking more casual than usual. "I owe you an apology, San," she said, her tone sincere. "I confused safety with control. I promise to be better." Nora piped up, "You can come over and read with us." Madison smiled, a genuine warmth I hadn't seen before. 2 days later, Karen Patel, the guardian ad litem, came to observe. She carried a tote and a notebook, introducing herself to Nora first. "I'm here to learn about your routine," she said. Nora explained our safety projects, and Karen took notes, quietly impressed. That evening, I found Margaret's folded note tucked in my binder. "Choose the right time to be brave." I stood in my workshop, the house quiet around me, feeling a sense of hope. The new sensor blinked steadily in the garage, and our calendar held promises for the days ahead. 6 months later, strawberry jam hissed on my stove while Nora read her science fair caption aloud, proud of the blue ribbon tucked inside the album we'd made. Lucas set plates without being asked. Madison laughed at something small and true. On the fridge, our calendar and the boundaries we chose together. Pickups at 3:15, Sunday dinner here, no decisions about me without me, no talk about slipping, quiet hours for Nora to read. Karen Patel's follow-up note sat clipped to the corkboard. Stable routines, protective presence, parents demonstrating respectful co-parenting, child thriving, no court involvement recommended. I'd read it twice and then once more, not for the praise, but for the word thriving. Lucas dried his hands and looked at me. "Dad, do you think I can be a good father?" "Good is what you do next," I said. "Do it again tomorrow." He nodded. Madison slid a bowl to Nora and mowed "thank you," maybe for the jam, maybe for the second chance. In the garage, the sensor blinked its steady green, a small light that meant we'd chosen better tolerances for our family. I poured tea and touched the note in Margaret's hand. "Choose the right time to be brave."
If this were your family, what boundary would you set and keep?
In the months that followed, life found a rhythm that felt earned. The sensor's steady green light became a quiet reminder: prevention is better than repair, especially after family betrayal. Our family calendar, with its boundaries and promises, proved that structure doesn't confine, it frees. We had walked through distrust, anger, and moments of raw truth, yet God guided us toward a shared understanding. The past can inform us without defining us. With His help, even the most fractured ties can hold again, not by forgetting, but by living honestly within the boundaries we keep. Stories grow stronger when they're shared. Leave your thoughts below and let this one travel further.